is a popular African proverb that says a tree does not move unless there is wind, which suggests that there is need for change and adaptation. And welcome to Just Africa, where we throw light on extraordinary changes occurring all over Africa. My name is Swift Aderito, and with me on the show today is my brilliant co-host, Priye Kumale. Priye, good morning. How are you?
I'm fine. Good morning to you.
I like your smile this morning. You look bright. You look like someone gave you $12 billion. Please, can you share?
I think you should ask me what's making me to smile that way. Is that a young lady like you,
yes,
because you're an African, you are throwing proverbs here and there.
Yes.
The wind, or a tree does not sway except the wind.
Because a tree is very firm.
You told them the meaning.
Yes.
Just the way Doc was giving us his own proverb yesterday, that the government has given the goat to some people who does not want to let go the rope.
So it's just...
It's still holding on to the rope. It's good to be here this morning on Just Africa.
Okay, so today, before we dive into the topic, you know, I always ask you, how African are you? And today I'm asking you, what's that thing about Africa that makes you know that we are growing, we are progressing, we are going to become a superpower with time?
Okay, I think if you look at the way leaders in Africa talk about Africa in the global community, in international forum like the Global Economic Forum, the Dubai Economic Forum, in Qatar, business executives are gathering, the Tony Elumelus are there, the Akiwumi Adesina of the African Development Bank, who is actually leaving now, and they start talking about Africa. One thing is the agenda they try to push, that look, we are about 1.4 billion people. If we are going to make progress more than the way we are doing right now, is for us to trade amongst ourselves,
yes,
and make sure that the raw materials that we export out of the continent and bring back finished goods from Europe or from the West, we can look at other African countries that have the manufacturing technology, the power and the prowess for us to take. First of all, consider those African destinations as those who need those raw materials, who can export it there. Now, for example, is it Côte d'Ivoire? They have a very successful burgeoning coffee industry.
Yes.
You can get cocoa from Nigeria. And so imagine if we are able to develop our cocoa production and ship it down there for them to manufacture their chocolates or some other derivatives that they can get from cocoa. And we don't have to be importing from the Côte d'Ivoire using the dollar.
Yes.
We use the naira and exchange for their own currency and bring it back. Ghana is also doing well when we talk about chocolate and
yes,
the cocoa that Nigeria have, and they've been successfully doing this. So if we are going to trade together, there is also a need for us to visit transportation. Europe is connected by train.
They're very intentional.
Very intentional about
yes,
it, and you can take a train probably from Belgium to one other European country, from Britain to another European country. We should be able to do likewise from Nigeria to
Africa.
Yes, from Nigeria somewhere in the south, in the southern part of the country, to Cameroon, from Cameroon to some other African country. Benin Republic is close by, Niger Republic is close by. We move down there, but it's going to be collaboration from both government. The former administration said it was going to build a rail line from somewhere in Katsina State on
yes,
the northern part of the country to Niger Republic. So Niger Republic government too could, come in that initiative, take that wherever it stopped and extend it to another African country. Because if we can break down the barriers of transportation and we can break down the barriers that hinders the free flow of goods and services within the African continent, which we know that the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement is making it possible for us to ship goods and services around.
Yes.
If we can do those, then I think we will be putting a final touch to everything that we have been talking about of putting Africa first, just to draw from President
yes,
Donald Trump's word, that
yeah,
putting America first. We will be able to do that, and I dare say that in no time, Africa will become the beautiful bride of the world.
All right. Right. In my own opinion, one thing that makes me know that Africa is doing very well is we have a vast population. We have a population of over 200 million plus. And when there's a population in Nigeria alone, when there's a population, you know that there needs to be met. And so you're looking at raw materials, you're looking at manufacturing, and you're looking at a lot of things that can move forward. Shout out to our House of Reps that has just passed that law that says that every thing, raw material going out of Nigeria now, you must have it at least 30% of it should be locally manufactured first. So we are not just selling
value added. Yeah.
We are selling value added. We are selling already processed goods. This tells me that in the next 5 years, because I know that change does not happen overnight, in the next 5 years, I will be looking at something really great. But right now, it's time for us to dive into the topic of today. Yes. All right. So talking about the topic of today, they say that necessity is the mother of all innovation. And in Africa, the truth is lived every day. We are faced with daily struggles like power outages, pollution, and of course, lack of infrastructure. Young Africans are stepping up with locally crafted solutions, and this grassroots changes makes often time and the little recognition they get, but their impact is transforming communities and addressing problems that the government have long ignored. And one of such innovators is Solomon Udoku from Abia State, Nigeria. Driven by the constant blackouts in his community, he built a 35 kVA transformer from scratch, allowing residents to charge their devices. Sokoto State's Anas Aliu Boye also built a modern transformer and showcased this at the Global Entrepreneurship Competition. Another example of young particular innovators making a real difference, of course, is Stanley Aniguyu from Onitsha, who turned his frustration of growing up with unreliable electricity into purpose. He is the co-founder of Light ED, a company that converts plastic waste into solar-powered charging station. His work has brought clean energy to over 10,000 refugees across Africa, earning him the 2025 Commonwealth Young Person of the Year Award. And these stories show why recognizing Africans' grassroots innovation is not just important, it is urgent for today. So let's critically look at the topic, Africans' quiet giants, and why recognizing grassroots change makers matters. And Priya, we have a guest, but before we talk about our guest, why do you think it's important? Because you have been talking about, building, we could do real, very, very brilliant, but why do you think it's important that we recognize our talents in the rural areas, not just the urban cities now, that are making changes? Yes.
So, recently, it is said that the current administration of the Minister of Power, Chief Adelabo, has been talking about the 300 the lights to provide energy to 300 million Africans. 300 million Africans. The doctor was saying 300 million Africans, if we're going to have energy, that's even too small. That you're just talking about Nigeria, Benin Republic, and one other country. So that's too small. We should expand it. So energy. Currently, they are talking about Africa energy poverty.
Yes.
So look at the few names of those people you mentioned. What's our one of our critical problems in Nigeria that has been hindering industrialization since time began? It's electricity.
Yes.
And electricity is the catalyst for industrialization. And in the early times in Europe, they were burning coal. They used fossil fuels. In fact, the allegations that African leaders are casting against them was that you are the one that is responsible for the destruction of the climate. So now we're talking about climate change, and you're telling us to leave our fuel and our crude to transform to renewable energy. Yes, while transition or sustainable transition is good argument, we also have needs that we need to meet. So electricity, and these people that you just mentioned, they have needs. They've been looking, okay, I want to study at night, I want to read, I want to go into manufacturing, we want to go into production, but there's something I miss, and that's electricity. So those young men sat on the solution, and they were able to build transformers. From nothing. So probably the government should look at this young man. Hey, how were you able to do this from nothing? Who sponsored you? What materials were you able to bring together to improvise to get this finished product that is now working? But you know what? We are the government. We're here to give you the resources and the funds you need. So we don't have... Build people like that. Once you recognize their ability, give them the needs for them to fly. So now we can now stop importing transformers from China and from some other places. So when you look at people like that, you are glad. In fact, you know, during President Goodluck Jonathan's administration, he told us, I went to school during one of his campaign. I went to school without shoes. Now, this is where I'm going. He went to school without shoes. You know my concern? The teacher that taught him in class. That teacher is a change maker. She didn't know that one of the students in our class or in his class that comes to school without shoes would trek long distance is going to be the president of the biggest black nations in the world. She didn't know that, but he was silently making change down there. Those are silent giants in Africa. You look at some rural doctors or nurses who they've been given few materials that go to the rural community somewhere in Sokoto, somewhere in Ogun State, and administer polio vaccines or any of these vaccines to some of the children in there. Those who, without supervision, will go moving around from community to community from 9, 10 a.m. in the morning to about 5 p.m. in the evening. Those are the silent change makers who stay true to their job. Some Nigerians who are improvising something from nothing to create tech from their rural areas. Those are the silent change makers that we're trying to recognize this morning. And if we see those people and they get the required the required funding and assistance that they can get, I tell you, they will be on the mountaintop.
Talking about the mountaintop, ladies and gentlemen, I'm about to take you on a quick break. We are going to the mountaintop. And of course, when we come back, we have a very brilliant guest. He's somebody who takes time to recognize Africans doing extraordinary things in every sphere of life. Do not go anywhere. Just Africa continues in a bit.
Welcome to Femi Walsh Limited, owners of Souk TV Lagos, Our Radio Lagos, Kaswa Radio Kano, and of course, Emirates TV Abuja and Dubai. Our niche market for media is business, economy, and development. At Femi Walsh, we promote your company's products and services using our world-class facilities. From Our Radio to Souk TV, what you get is nothing but the best of the very best.
And if you're looking for the premium production firm for your events and corporate coverage, think no further, because we offer you the best of industry standards.
With high-definition cameras ranging from 4K to 8K multicam setups, high-directional microphones, and real-time streaming encoders, we give you a production like none other. And if you're looking to produce podcasts, adverts, and documentaries, our team of experts will ensure that you convey your message clearly and professionally. Femi Walsh, Global Vision, Local Impact.
Cocoa remains a significant cash crop in Nigeria, predominantly produced by small-scale farmers in the country's southwest region. Historically, cocoa served as a major source of foreign earnings until the 1970s, when the discovery of petroleum shifted the focus away from agriculture. Despite various challenges from its introduction in 1807 to the present, efforts by successive governments and the resilience of cocoa farmers have sustained its production. To better optimize productivity and ensure fair prices for farmers and high economic returns for the government, the Cocoa Marketing Board, CMB, was established in 1947. However, the goal was not totally achieved as pricing policy weren't favorable, discouraging farmers from producing export crops, and that eventually led to the boat abolition in 1986. These resulted in reduced yields and lower quality cocoa beans. Meanwhile, the millennium era witnessed a shift in farmers' focus towards more economically viable crops like oil palm due to the high cost and intensive care required for cocoa production. Cocoa production faces several obstacles, including limited access to fertilizers, unfavorable climate conditions, pest infestation, poor infrastructure, and land shortages. Also, herders' attacks on farmers have deterred farmers from expanding their farmlands. According to research, despite challenges, cocoa production has empowered many farmers and more stakeholders in the value chain, improving their living standards, enabling them to provide education for their children, cover medical expenses, and build better homes. Concerning the future of cocoa farming in Nigeria, there are mixed opinions among farmers. Some are hopeful that government reinvestment in addressing current challenges can revive the sector's past success. Others are pessimistic due to the persistent issues and the trend of farmers shifting to other crops. Regardless, hope remains for the sector. Solutions like improving land-labor relations, infrastructure, and financial support could revitalize cocoa production, reduce out migration, stabilize prices, and enhance value chain development, ultimately securing a brighter future for Nigerian cocoa farming and its stakeholders. Ojai Michael, reporting for Soak News.
Welcome back to Just Africa, and this is a show tailored to sell everything Africa, and we've been talking about the sleeping giants of Africa. My co-host is Priye Kumale, and we've been doing a fantastic job. But right now, we are about to invite our guest who is joining us via Zoom. Our guest today believes in celebrating African innovation, and his passion has led him to start a platform that is promoting Africans doing exceptionally good things all over the world, especially South Africa. He is the innovator of the Nigerian South African or the Nigerian Excellence Awards in South Africa. Of course, we introduce today proudly Mr. Olaniyi Adedele. Mr. Olaniyi, welcome to the show. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, viewers. I think first and foremost, my surname is pronounced Abodedele.
Please, my apologies. Abodedele.
Yes.
My apologies, sir. How are you doing, Mr. Abodedele?
Sorry?
How are you doing, Mr. Abodedele, sir?
Well, we thank God, we give glory to God, we're pushing and going by the times and by the day.
All right, so I'm not alone in the studio. I have my co-host. His name is Mr. Priye Kumale.
Good morning to you, Mr. Abodedele. It's nice to have you join us on the program this morning.
Thank you very much, and the pleasure is mine.
Right, so Mr. Abodedele, let's quickly jump into it. We are talking about the sleeping giants of Africa. We are looking at people who have been able to do dynamic things from villages. We are trying to concentrate more on the rural areas than urban. What's your take on Africans that are doing exceptional things in every sphere of life, sir?
Well, as we all know, Nigerians are very passionate and very innovative people that achieve wherever they are in the world, because we're a set of resistant people, you know, a set of people that find their way everywhere in the world. But particularly in South Africa, there is a huge stereotype about Nigerians and what Nigerians do. But in general, Nigerians are great people, and Nigerians are contributing all over the world positively. But we must not also shy away from the fact that There are some set of Nigerians as well that are really denting the image of Nigerians, and which in turn is affecting the good Nigerians even in the diaspora.
Okay. Pray, do you want to ask
Okay, yes, thank you very much for that. Now, first of all, when we look at whether Nigerians or Africans, Rwandans, or maybe Ghanaians, as long as they are Africans, when they are doing good things, in the beginning of the show, we were talking about some locals in Nigeria who have taken the need they saw in electricity, and they've been able to fabricate something to build transformer, and it worked in their local community. And when we see things like this, most especially in any part of Africa, that we've seen some in Nigeria, I know there are others that that you have seen in South Africa or some other African countries. How can we bring this into the formal setting where the government of the day will be able to recognize the abilities of these persons and to streamline them, make provisions of capital and the funds that is required to bring them into the mainstream of development?
Well, you see, if we need to be very honest to ourselves as Africans and Nigerians, I think a lot of these things stops at the desk of leadership. It all has to do with leadership. You know, when there is good leadership and there is focused leadership, things will begin to fall in place. You know, originally, and you see, like I said, the bulk starts with the leaders and ends with the leaders. If African countries begin to recognize and support their own that are innovators, that are creators and things. Importantly, what African leaders need to understand that the private sector drives the economy. And for the private sectors to be able to drive the economy, you know, there has to be a large support and sacrifice from government itself, you know. And when I mean sacrifice and support from government, there has to be that funding capability, you know, access to finance, access to loan at a very low, you know, interest rate, you know, not an interest rate where business people, innovators, and creators, you know, are cutting off their neck just to pay back what they use investing in, you know, their business. So all in all, what I'm going to say is the bulk is on the table of the leadership. If the leadership is right, the economy and its people will progress and will be more innovative.
so much, Mr. Abodedele, for that fantastic, I love the way you're coming to it. You're talking about leadership and the fact that leadership and private partnerships go pari passu. I need to talk about South Africa, where you live in. We have seen Nigerians there who have not had anything, any government support, still able to, do fantastically well. So my question is, in Africa, most of the time, leadership when it comes to supporting entrepreneurs is not a lot. Do you think that Nigerians should take up the mindset of doing it on their own than waiting for government? We can see, for example, the Dangote refinery that has seemed to, it's now all over Africa as the biggest refinery in Africa, and we're even importing, or he's even exporting fuel out of Nigeria to USA. Do you think that Africans should have the mentality of leaving government alone now and start doing their private businesses on their own, thinking of full support for themselves to build Africa to become the next big thing?
No, thank you very much for that question. First and foremost, I must be very honest with you. As a Nigerian in South Africa, you need to work 10 times harder than any other person because of the stereotype against us as Nigerians, and because we absolutely have no support. But in as much as that, we still excel in what we do in so many ways. I mean, I can mention a lot of Nigerians that if you Google them, or if South Africans Google them, you will be amazed by their level of achievement and what they have impacted, the knowledge they have imparted onto South Africans and Africans in general as Nigerians in South Africa. But moving away from that and talking about the private sector, either trying to leave government alone and achieve on their own and everything. Yes, it is possible, and we are seeing that, if we take Nigeria, for example, and we look at the different sectors in Nigeria that are doing very well, from Nollywood to Afrobeat, now to the fashion industry, to sports and everything. There's absolutely not been government support or government intervention. But now, when we talk about things like that, that is on a personal level, a personal scale. Now, when we begin to talk about industrialization, establishment of business and everything, and that is why there's so much small businesses in Nigeria, why we don't have industries. When we begin to talk about industries, government regulations, government laws, interest rates, and things like that play a major role. And if those things are not there and those environments are not conducive enough for big time industrialists and big time business people that want to be employers of labor, I'm not talking about one-man businesses, I'm talking about employers of labor. Government needs to play a part, because government plays a part in influencing what the interest rates are in terms of loans, in terms of funding businesses. Government needs to determine what the taxes are and things like that. Yes, Nigerians individually, as individuals, we are very productive people, we are very creative people, and we are very innovative people. And that is why we excel on an individual level and on a one-man business, medium-scale business level. But on an industrial level, government needs to play its part, because government is very critical in the economy. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Now, Mr. Olani Abodedele, I want to take you back, if you can remember this story very well. There's this Nigerian guy, popularly called Hush Puppy, who was accused of carrying out some fraudulent activities that he brought him out to limelight, to the extent that he was caught and taken over to the United States of America. It looks like those crimes know how to handle people like that. They are going to now look at these people, study them, and be able to get from their knowledge how were they able to bridge some of these sophisticated systems that high-techy minds from the Silicon Valleys were able to create those systems in place. And some Nigerian, some African boy from the rural city who did not have such a level of education through tech or in the sciences would just come and bridge those gaps, though they are using it for fraudulent and illegal activities. But my attention here is the wherewithal to be able to pull out such a level of sophistry in committing crime. How can we cite these kinds of gifts if there's no deliberate effort? Why is it that the people outside know how to handle potential like this than those from where they came from?
I'm not sure I get on very well. You seem to have, your audio seemed to have dropped. But if I get you right, you started from the story of Hush Puppy and how the United States or developed world use situations like that and people like that, to improve or to sort of block channels and things like that, if I'm right, But if that is the case, what I'm going to say is, you see, in every system and in every innovation, there's always the opportunity to improve. And how do you improve? The way you improve is by identifying loopholes in the system. No innovation can get to its peak at the very beginning. It's a process. But unfortunately, our government do not understand that. And that is where research comes in. a lot of these young people out there, that are outsmarting the system, and US or foreign government are arresting them. They're actually tapping into their brain because they are giving them the knowledge and the opportunities where the loopholes are. And that is where countries begin to get stronger in terms of technology, in terms of security, and in terms of things like that. But unfortunately, in Africa, there is still a lot of development to be made. And the better we start making that development, and the better we start investing on research, and technology to help us, deal with a lot of things, and a lot of issues we are having. Nigeria has the personnel, both at home and in the diaspora, for us to be a great nation. But unfortunately, those people are not getting the adequate support they need to get from government. And because they know what governance is in Africa, they tend to want to stay away from that region in order for them not to soil their name and not to have a negative impact on what they have used their entire life to work on.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bodedele. Brilliantly answered. But I want to ask a question because in your conversation, you talked about the fact that, look, which is similar to what my co-host has asked. You said some people keep denting the image of Nigeria. I want to ask, and I'm asking my question in two folds. Do you think more needs to be done for the PR of Nigeria? Because like we have said, or we all know, we have very brilliant Nigerians, and sometimes in Europe or other countries, people seem to focus more on the criminally minded Nigerians than us. Then the second phase of the question is your platform, and that's for the Nigeria Awards, Community Excellence Awards in South Africa, is your platform part of that service to promote Nigerians and Africans that are also doing exceptionally well and trying to change the narrative? All right, so please, Priya, can you please ask the question?
Okay. Thank you very much. Are you still there, Mr. Olani?
I can't hear you.
Okay. Okay. Probably
the network is glitching.
The engineers are going to fix
yes,
that. So I have to ask that question because it looks like it takes a very great fit.
Priya, before you ask the question, and please, we would like to go on a short break, and when we come back, Mr. Olani will still be online to answer all our beautiful questions or all our questions that we have for him. Please do not go anywhere. This is still Just Africa. My name is Swifta Derito.
Lesotho, a country like no other on the African continent, and in fact, like no other in the world. Nestled entirely within the borders of South Africa, Lesotho holds a unique geographical distinction. It is the only independent nation on Earth located entirely above 1,000 meters in elevation. Its lowest point, at 1,400 meters above sea level, is higher than the highest points in countries like Netherlands, Denmark, or even the United Kingdom. This extraordinary altitude earns Lesotho its nickname, the Kingdom in the Sky. Lesotho is one of just 3 countries in the world that are completely surrounded by one other country, the others being San Marino and Vatican City in Italy. But unlike them, Lesotho is not a microstate. It boasts a proud population, a strong cultural identity, and a landscape marked by rugged mountains, deep valleys, and fast-flowing rivers. What also makes Lesotho stand out in Africa is its climate. While much of the continent is known for its warmth, Lesotho regularly experiences snowfall, especially in its highland regions. In fact, it is home to Afriski, Africa's only
Welcome back to Just Africa, where we discuss everything African. We have a very amazing guest online, the brilliant Mr. Olaniyi Abodedele. And of course, he is the chairman of NCEA South Africa, where he promotes Africans and Nigerians that are doing exceptional things in the diaspora. Mr. Olaniyi, please, are you still online with us? Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can hear you well now. Thank you.
Thank you. So before we went on the break, I was asking a question that do you think PR is one of the issues Nigeria has? You talked about the fact that a lot of Africans, especially Nigerians, are doing amazing things. But many times the information that, goes around the diaspora is the information of the Nigerians that are doing bad things, that are into criminal, drug carrying, hacking and all that. Do you think that we need to build a better public relations system where we celebrate Nigerians that are doing fantastic? And then my second question comes to the fact is, are you is your brand one of those bodies that is making a conscious effort to build the public relations or to build the way Nigerians, especially in South Africa, the positive Nigerians that are hardworking and are doing fantastic things in South Africa are celebrated from the negative information or perspectives people have about them?
Thank you very much for those two questions. Those are very, very important questions, especially for people like us that are in the PR and the communication, industry. Yes, without a doubt, PR is one of Nigeria's biggest problem. I remember back then in those days where there used to be a government department that is predominantly about educating people, celebrating people, and things like that. And it's still very, very amazing that up till today, the federal government of Nigeria or Nigeria do not recognize that fact and the importance of PR to sell the brand Nigeria, to the world. If we look at most countries in the developed world, and right now, the shift is going to the Middle East, the Arab nations. We can see what Dubai is doing, we can see what Qatar is doing, we can see what Saudi Arabia is even doing now in terms of PR, in terms of public relations and things like that. I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm yet to see any story, from the Nigerian government profiling Nigeria or even, sending advert out there to Nigerians, in the diaspora. So PR is definitely one of our biggest problems, but also for you to understand the impact of PR, you need a government that is in touch with modern day realities. And if that is not the case, no country or no individual is going to sing your praise for you as a country. Every other country is, concentrating on themselves, developing themselves. And as you know, in the media, the bad news, the bad stories sells more than the good news. So everybody now on social media, on TV, are on a race of having large followership. And how do they achieve that? By negative news, looking out for negative news. And also, don't forget that Nigerians are a threat to everybody worldwide. With a population of over 250 million, and Nigerians scattered everywhere in the world. You know, it's a big, I mean, it's a big threat, you know, to citizens of that country. Because anywhere we get to go to as Nigerians, we want to dominate, we want to be seen, we want to be known, we want to achieve either good or bad, and things like that. So I think it is high time the Nigerian government bring together, you know, young, savvy, tech-inclined individuals that understands the power of PR and begin to sensitize Nigerians as people and begin to sell the positive side of Nigeria to the diaspora, to the international community. Now, going to the second question, you know, on my organization, you know, playing that role. And yes, I mean, I've been in South Africa for 20 years, and that is 10 decades. And it still amazes me and it still surprises me that there's so much negative stereotype about Nigeria here in South Africa, you know, and we must be very factual and honest with ourselves. Some of those things are really, really true. But in as much as that, what has the Nigerian government done about that in terms of promoting Nigerians or in terms of recognizing Nigerians that are standing in the diaspora to use them as a launch pad, you know, to sell the country and the community? Absolutely nothing. Individuals have been taking off these challenges and have absolutely have no support, you know, in any way and everything. And all my stay in South Africa, I dedicated myself to that fact that absolutely I know that the outstanding Nigerians in South Africa, and everything I do is about promoting Nigeria and promoting Nigerians are doing great things in South Africa.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Olani Abodedele. Now, I think probably in another conversation where we need to talk about African countries and interrelationship between African countries and how this stereotyping of Nigerians and other Africans are hindering development and why each African countries cannot promote themselves. Maybe in another conversation we'll talk more about that. But I think you'll be the right person to even talk about that given the time that you've stayed over in South Africa and how you've come to know how Nigerians are being stereotyped, the good, the bad, and the ugly. But let me take you towards this direction. Why do you think, or how, do you see Nigerians or Africans, let's say Ghanaians in Nigeria, how we can shape creativity amongst ourselves? There is truth to the fact that Nigerians are known for a specific kind of gift or talent. There is also true that Ghanaians or South Africans, Rwandans, Malawians are known for a gift or some form of proficiency in a certain aspect. How can we treat this together within the continent of Africa to be of help to each other to grow economically and otherwise?
Look, that is a very, very important question. And that is where social cohesion and citizens to citizens interaction comes in. And you see, for this to happen, we need African governments, AU, and corporate organization to play a very important role in that aspect of things. You know, we need to start understanding the fact that as Africans, we need to work together, we need to transfer knowledge, and we need to create businesses in each other's country and learn from each other. Now, social cohesion. When we look at South Africa, Nigeria, for all these years, things have been happening. They have always been binational. There are also been binational meetings at the highest level within government. And when they come together, they talk about these things. They talk about social cohesion. They talk about the movie industry. They talk about the music industry collaboration. But immediately they leave that meeting and they stand up from there. It ends there until another crisis comes up And until another xenophobic attack or another big issue comes up, they come together again, they remind you. Now, one important aspect, let's look at the music industry. When have we heard that Nigerian musicians or South African musicians, are coming together to perform in a big concert, either in Nigeria or in South Africa? And of course, we know these things are of huge financial implications that if multinational organizations or government do not support, it's something that is very difficult to achieve. But we just have to start bringing up programs like that that will bring citizens of Africa together. And that is the role that the Nigerian Community Excellence Award is playing in South Africa. I mean, I sat down and I looked at it that after all these accusations, stereotype, and everything about Nigerians in South Africa, what are we doing as Nigerians ourselves to showcase the good side of us and to also invite South Africans and other African nationals to come into our space and see these people and experience our culture and interact with us? That is what the Nigerian Community Excellence Award, that is the role it's playing. And I tell you for a fact, this is the 6th edition and the 8th year. We could not do 2 years because of COVID, but it is the only Nigerian community event in South Africa. It is the most glamorous, it is the most prestigious, and the biggest, and the only annual event in Nigeria. But then this initiative is being driven by a private individual that gets no support, absolutely, from nowhere. But I'm doing this because I believe in my country, and I know there are good and outstanding Nigerians out there, not the negativity that is being said about us.
Okay, so in doing this,
Yes.
in doing this, because I see you give emphasis on the fact that you only have private entities who are coming in to support and to show nationality in it. Have you attempted reaching out to government entities, most especially like the Nigerian diaspora community, and of course, the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Nigeria, or Abike Dabri-Erewa?
So, sorry, Mr. Olani, please, we would want to go on a quick break. And when we come back, we want to talk, we want to concentrate on your awards. That's the Nigerian Community Excellence Award, South Africa, because we want to dissect your award properly. So please, let's go on a quick break. And when we come back, we will still have Mr. Olani here. Do not go anywhere. This is still Just Africa. My name is Swift Adirito.
In an age of artificial intelligence and automation, it is easy to overlook the value of hands. Yet in Ghana, hands still build nations. From Adinkra cloth printers in Ntoso to traditional kente weavers in Bonwire, Ghana's indigenous skill economy continues to prove that African creativity is not just cultural, it is commercial. Looking beyond the surface of heritage to the engine room of informal training systems that have powered generations and could power Africa's industrial future, Ghana comes to mind. In Ghana, apprenticeship is not a fallback. It is the main highway for millions of young people who are learning practical trades like metalwork, leatherwork, carpentry, fabric dyeing, and advanced tailoring. According to the Ghana Statistical Service, more than 80% of artisans are trained informally, yet they contribute significantly to the GDP. This is not unique to Ghana. From the woodcarvers of Kenya to the bronze casters of Nigeria, Africa is a continent of craftspeople. But Ghana offers a model where traditional skill acquisition meets modern enterprise development. Institutions like the Council for Technical and Vocational Education and Training, COTVET, have begun integrating indigenous knowledge into formal systems, developing a dual-track model that combines age-old methods with certification, mentorship, and business incubation. As Africa looks for solutions to youth unemployment, the answer may not lie in importing Western education models, but in elevating what we already have. Imagine if every African country invested in formalizing informal skills, adding value chains, technology, and access to export markets. The challenge, as always, is perception. We must stop seeing artisanship as inferior. Ghana is showing that welding can build wealth and textile design can drive trade. The African hand is skilled. The African mind is gifted. What remains is for policy and investment to catch up with potential. In Ghana's apprentices, they don't just see workers, they see a future workforce Africa can proudly call its own. I'm Moyosore Adebi for Souk News TV.
Welcome back to Just Africa, and this is a platform that believes that Africa must work for Africans to promote Africa. We still have Mr. Olani Adede, oh my God, Abodedele online. And of course, Priya, good afternoon, Abi, good morning. How are you doing?
Yeah. It depends on where they are watching us.
Yeah,
Good
true.
afternoon.
Mr. Abodedele, are you still with us, sir?
Yes, I'm here with you.
So before I jump in, Priya was asking you a very important question. So let him go first, and I come back to you.
Yes, so I was trying to link your organization or what you're doing, the Nigerian Community Excellence Award, with the NIDCOM, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, where Abike Dabiri Arewa is heading that. And you know it's government agencies that facilitates, brings together relationship between Nigerians in diaspora and at home to facilitate policies that could bring development. And you are doing excellently on that space. So have you considered, because you were talking about only private entities that engage in supporting what you're doing, have you engaged the Nigerian government and agencies like NIDCOM or the Nigerian embassy somewhere in South Africa for some of your programs?
Of course, definitely. I'm well known to Honorable Abike Dabiri, and I've worked closely with her even when she was the House of Representatives and as the chairperson of the diaspora, and also when she was special advisor to President Muhammadu Buhari. In fact, Honorable Abike Dabiri is one of our patrons for the Nigerian Community Excellence Award in South Africa. She knows about the award, and she gives us support, morally. And even the Nigerian diplomatic missions in South Africa, both the High Commission and the consulate knows about it as well. In fact, I have about 3 former ambassadors that have served as ambassadors in South Africa and consul generals that have served as consul generals in South Africa that are sitting as patrons of the award because they recognize what we are doing and they appreciate it. But unfortunately, we know the Nigerian system and how the Nigerian system works. It's always a problem of funding, when it comes to.
Okay, I think we lost Mr. Olani Abodedele.
Mr. Abodedele will come back. So yeah, still talking about, because I'm highly thrilled about his initiative to start an award that celebrates Nigerians in South Africa, because I would say almost all the information I get from South Africa, there's drugs, there's fighting, there's this. And I have a lot of friends who live in South Africa who are doctors. If I have a friend who owns a bakery in South Africa. So it actually does mean Nigerians are doing exceptional things.
Yes.
But all the information you see online is 3 Nigerians arrested, 5 Nigerians arrested. What's your take on public relations that we as Nigerians need to systematically do to show the world that, look, we are not the criminals in South Africa, we are actually the workforce?
Criminality or, all these nefarious activities, those who commit heinous crimes or they are not peculiar to Nigeria. We have, you will be surprised, there are thieves in Canada. There are thieves in the UK. In America, there are thieves. There are phone thieves in China.
Yes.
There are thieves everywhere. So it is not a Nigerian thing. And I think I'm the one, going to be one of the few people that will stand away from that, argument or narrative that the media, thrives on the platform of bad news. No. Whatever happens in public domain, the good, the bad, the ugly, the media is saddled with the responsibility of bringing it out to the public.
You're right.
For the public to know what is happening.
Yes.
And sometimes we also know that people, when things happen that way, people talk more about the bad news. Now, that's not because they are trying to promote the bad news. It is because they are trying to look at it, critique it, criticize it very well, and try to put, to smoothen all the rough edges. So I wouldn't say bad news thrives or media drives bad news, or bad news drives media. No. But for the case of the Nigerians, is that, yes, there are good Nigerians, and of course, there are unscrupulous elements
Yes.
there. And it is not peculiar to Nigeria. We have other African countries. We've known of African countries who perpetrate crime in America and UK. And because of the fact that they are Africans, first of all, what comes to mind is they are Nigerians. Some of them have equally, presented themselves as Nigerians until
Yes.
Nigerians have been called to question them. If you are a Nigerian, tell me, where are you from? What state are you from? What local government? Then they start, okay, at least speak your local dialect. If you can't even speak your local dialect, say something about your local dialect or anything. But you see, they cannot. And through that aspect, they've
Mr. Abodedele is back online. Yes, Mr. Abodedele, welcome back. We're excited to have you back. So sorry about this glitch. Mr. Abodedele, yes, sir. All right, I think it's still a South African network, Nigeria team. Mr. Abodedele, I hear you can hear me. How are you doing, sir?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. So sorry, you were in between giving us some you were enlightening our minds, actually. Yes. We would want you to, I want to throw a little more light to that question by asking you that, do you think that your platform can do more? I'm sorry to use the word. Do you think that you can extend it just a little above Nigerians in South Africa, make it Africans in South Africa? Because I think when you celebrate only Nigerians, there will be a little bit of jealousy. We have seen some South Africans seem to have a lot of issues with Nigerians. And what do you think about that, sir?
No, of course, definitely. We are in South Africa. Also, the award also recognizes South Africans. There are some categories of award that recognizes South Africa, but we must not shy away from the fact that the award is about Nigerians. It's about celebrating ourselves. It's about identifying role models for young Nigerians and children that are of Nigerian origins. Either their mother is South African or Nigerian. So we have like a few interesting categories for South Africans, like a non-Nigerian partner, someone married to a Nigerian that have assisted a partner in achieving and reaching great heights. There is a category for outstanding non-Nigerian partner. There's also a category for collaboration, a South African or African that has collaborated with a Nigerian, to achieve or to create something exceptional and outstanding. And there's also a category for Africans or South Africans that are in one way or the other promoting the Nigerian culture, Nigerian fashion, and things like that. And also a recognition for a Nigerian, South African organization, multinational organization supporting the Nigerian community. So we have also looked at that because when we talk about social cohesion and citizens to citizens interaction, we have to try as much as possible to bring as many people, Nigerians and non-Nigerians together under one roof for us to interact and for them to see our culture and tradition and for us to appreciate them and say thank you for supporting us, for believing in us, and for working with our community. There are, of course, definitely there are those categories, but overall, we must not shy away from the fact that it's a Nigerian Community Excellence Award that recognizes excellence within Nigerians in South Africa.
Okay. All right, sir. So please, I want to ask, how do, for example, I have a friend who is a medical doctor in South Africa doing exceptionally well. I have another friend who owns his own bakery in South Africa. I want to ask, how do I get to nominate such people? Because I know they are hardworking and they are diligent and they also need to be celebrated. So we have people from Nigeria who have family in South Africa and they are looking at, oh, this is such a beautiful platform. How can we nominate? How do people get to nominate people for your award? Or is it you that just sits down and you pick people you nominate or you put in categories? We want you to please throw more light on this, sir.
Okay, we are a very, very professional organization. Everything we do is very professional and is very open out there. So in terms of entries, if you are an individual and your work stands out, or you are a Nigerian change maker in South Africa, you just go to our website. One thing we believe is we cannot know everyone. So we also depend on people to recommend those that they know to us. And how do you do that? Either if you want to enter yourself for an award or you want to recommend someone, you would go to our website, which is www.nceawards, awards.com. And when you go to the website, you go to nominations. When you go to nominations, there's a part that says enter yourself or recommend someone or enter someone. So if you want to enter yourself, you just click on enter yourself and you fill in the necessary parts where you need to fill in. And you want to recommend someone to us for an award, you also click the enter someone and you follow the instructions. Once you enter someone, once you complete the process, you would receive an acknowledgement email, and the person you have recommended will also receive an acknowledgement email that they've been recommended. And then we as an organization will get in touch with them and we tell them to fill out the necessary information needed. And that is how you enter. Now, in terms of selection and in terms of, picking who would take the award on the final day, we have a committee of 5 people, who are respected people in the community. Some of them are professionals, some of them in the entertainment industry. They sit down and collate all these entries. They do research, they follow up on informations that have been given to us by these individuals who have entered. They do their research about them. If they need to ask for further documents or information to verify certain things, they do that. If they need to call them and speak to them and ask them certain questions, they do that. And based on that, they pick the best 3 candidates. And from the best 3 candidates, the winner is selected. And the best 3 nominees will be announced at the gala dinner, and the winner will be announced. Now, we don't believe in voting by the public because of the kind of award we do. We are not a full entertainment award. Public voting is good when the award is for entertainment, where the nominees have large following. But in the type of award we do, which is a community event, we have professors, we have lecturers that are very busy people. And some of these people are not even on social media. Now, if you throw that out to the public for people to vote, then that means, the least person, with the least qualities we want might win because the person is quite popular on social media, or because the person has a very large social media following and can ask his or her people to vote. So that is why we've kept away from public voting. And the good thing about our top 3 nominees and winners is the fact that all their names and information are on our website. So if anybody feels aggrieved or people feel, no, this person is not supposed to be the winner, I mean, they can go to our website, read their details, read their profile, and see what they've done, and from there make up their mind to say, no, this person really deserves it. And that is why I say we're a very professional organization. We are very open and very transparent in what we do, and that is what has set us apart over the years, and that is why it has been able to be sustained. We've not been like other events that start a year or two, because they compromise, they give awards to people that are not supposed to get it. That is not the case with us, and our standards are very high. We prioritize the kind of our image and things like that. So yes, that is how people can enter themselves, and people can recommend and enter people they know.
Right, thank you so much, Mr. Olani Abodedele. My last question is, if people, for example, someone watching in Nigeria, someone watching in the UK, the US, wants to come to South Africa to be part of this your award, they are not being nominated. They may have one friend or they may not, but they just want to visit South Africa and use your award. Oh, let's just be a part of the award. Let's come, let's sit down, and let's see how this award goes. How can they go about it? Because I think you should leave it open, yeah, because I would also want to come. How can people like that go about it?
That question, that's a very, very important question. I mean, we welcome that. And at the end of it, that's the end goal, because it's quite unimaginable that as a community in South Africa with a large community, we do not have an annual event we can call our own, and where we can attract people to come to South Africa to celebrate with us as Nigerians, and also to visit South Africa and visit the wonderful tourism sites in South Africa. So we welcome that. If there are such people that want to do that, we would advise that through our website on our contact page, they contact us and let us know. And whatever assistance they need from us, maybe in terms of letter of invitation and supporting documents, we would be glad enough to do that. But they have to show that they want to come for the awards. And how do they do that? Either purchase a ticket for that or talk to us so that we'll be able to recommend them and give full information to the authority they need us to talk to. Yeah.
So much, sir. So I just need to confirm, a ticket can be purchased on your website, if I'm right. And so if people go there, they can purchase a ticket on your website, or is there anywhere else they can purchase those tickets to come for the award, sir?
Tickets are purchased on our website. Once the ticket is open, or once people want to purchase a ticket and it's not yet open, we can open it for them so that they can purchase the ticket. Tickets are sold on our website only, and tickets are not sold at the door on the day.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olani Abodedele. But before I let you go, finally, I have my last question for you. What's your favorite South African meal? We can't have you here and not ask that question. Yes.
No, of course, definitely. And for the records, I'm actually married to a South African woman, wonderful woman, wonderful parent, I must say, very disciplined and well-informed parent. So, of course, definitely, I cannot be in a country for 20 years and not be used to their food, not to be used to their tradition and culture. I love pap and brine meats. And I also love makodu. Makodu is, we call it tribe in Nigeria, shaki. There's a way they prepare it in South Africa. Those are two of my favorite South African meals.
All right, thank you so much, sir. It's time for us to say bye-bye, but you're not just going to say bye-bye to us, you're going to say bye-bye in South Africa. What do you think?
Yeah, that's
yes. Olani Abodedele, you have the floor to say bye-bye to us in South Africa. Yes.
Okay, I want to say thank you to you guys. I quite appreciate this platform you've given to me, and I also want to say thank you to Nigerians. To Nigerians in the diaspora, let us be good ambassadors of Nigeria. Let us fly the white, green flag very well. Let us stretch a hand of friendship to our host community and to people of different countries, because right now Africa is the continent to watch out for. I'm someone that believes in a free Africa. I'm someone that believes in a borderless Africa. I advocate for that. And in that way, we'll be able to do business together. We'll be able to visit Africa and see how Africa is. For my Nigerian brothers in Nigeria, we love you. We look forward to always seeing you people and we look forward to making Nigeria great. Thank you very much and God bless you.
All right, thank you too, sir. Bye-bye, sir. All right, so Priye, yes.
He didn't say it in South African language. I was expecting him to say that in South African language.
Mr. Alani. Are you still with me? Yes, you are still with us. You need to say bye-bye in South Africa. Say how they say it in South Africa. That's what we're waiting for.
Maybe you can't speak the South African language. You've been there for decades, you know.
He can.
Can you say it to us in the South African language?
Well, anyway, I would have to stylishly decline there because I cannot speak South African language.
Problem, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure having you. And please, we will tell you we are going to have you again pretty soon because we want to talk about the diaspora issues and, of course, the challenges Nigerians in South Africa face. Have a beautiful day, sir.
Very much, and God bless you.
You too, sir. All right, so Priye, interesting conversation, the sleeping giants in South Africa and all over. So what's your last take to say bye-bye to our guest before we leave?
Well, I am glad he came on the program and he really spoke. He talked about social cohesion.
Yes.
And I think it's something that
very briefly, 30 seconds.
Yes, African countries should give thought to. Social cohesion is very important. I see a South African, I don't have to look at him as a South African. I look at him, you're a Nigerian. Or we are brothers.
Yes.
You go to Malawi, it's the same thing. You go to Kenya, it's the same thing. So if something is happening in other South Africa, like the protest in Kenya recently,
yes,
we should show concern and show support.
Talking about showing concern and showing support, thank you so much for being a part of Just Africa. My name is Swift Aderito, and like I always say, bye Africa, be African, and embrace Africa. Have a beautiful day.